cut her the fuck open, ruin any chance of anything else possibly being the cure aside from cutting open a big fucking thing out of this kid's head. Like, absolutely, like, there's so much more wrong with all of that to begin with. The guy was dangerous, and he probably deserved to fucking die.
Dr. Nick.
But that being said, yes, Abby is that doctor, that idiot doctor, as you put it, daughter. She's the same age as Abby, maybe a year older
as Ellie.
As Ellie, maybe a year older at the point
did
when
they
Joel
make
kills.
her? Did they make Abby right off the bat a sympathetic? How can they make Abby? Are they going to do what the game does, where they have Abby kill fucking Joel in front of Ellie and then take over as her as a character, and we're gonna take over from her perspective and make her look like the hero?
It's kind of so one of the things that I'm disappointed about because of the series. Okay, in the first game we talked about this when the moments came up when she meets David, and David's going to take her deer. David's second hand guy, first right hand man goes off and goes to get the medicine. Ellie and David have a fight for their lives against clickers and bloaters and shit like that, right? And they fight together. And then you have the scene that ends up playing out again in the series where they're at the campfire and he says, I know exactly who you are and I've known this whole time and we're going to come and get you. You have no choice, but here's the meds. Go on. Bye. And she runs off, right? There's a similar scene in the beginning of part 2, right? And I get the feeling Neil Druckmann likes to do this with here's that, but with different emotion and different motive behind that same thing. So it starts out and you get to play as Abby really before any kind of conflict happens. You get to play as Ellie a little bit in mundane, getting to know the game for new players, kind of intro, basic chapter shit, right? And you get to do the same as Abby. And during this, you kind of get to play as Abby and you don't know what she's going to do. And she ends up separated from her group of friends while you're playing with her.
So you start to like Ellie before. You start to like Abby before you start to like. Fun. You start to like. We both did it. You start to like Abby for a while in the game before you see her. Before you see Tommy and Joel save her. And is it a trap? Did she set herself up in that situation?
No. She's getting chased by. You get separated. Her wannabe boyfriend, her fuckboy, right? She leads her out into like a view of Jackson. Look, I found it. We're getting close. This must be where he is.
Killmonger in the live chat says, no, you never like Abby.
And no, and that's not true. I actually, dude, if this was Abby's story, if this was game 1 and you picked up from like, this motherfucker came in and killed my whole fucking everybody I've ever known and my dad like that, like I'm pretty sure you'd be on the same path as Abby. What they're trying to get across is there's a lot of real subtle points they're trying to get across.
They're trying to get across that it's, I think in some ways, you relate to, you cheer for the people you meet first, and it depends on everything's perspective and that kind of stuff.
Right. And that goes to show like this perspective when you meet up with Joel and Tommy, you fight alongside them so that and they help Abby survive and get back to her group of friends.
Okay, Joe, I'm gonna halt things for a second here and just get into the live chat for a second and a couple of the comments just to make sure people that are knowing just keep things simple right here at first. Because I saw someone ask it in the live chat that rolled by. So what you're saying is Joel dies in season 2? Yes, probably. They may wait one way or another. He dies. Either he dies at the first episode or they somehow save that for the end. But one way or another, Pedro isn't making it out of that season except in flashbacks.
Yeah, it's tough to see him make it out of season 2 alive.
No, I say
they could stretch his character if they got him on contract for 2 seasons, right? Why you're not giving him up in season 1 and then putting him in episode 1? and then putting him in like 5 flashback scenes that mean shit that are going to fucking completely. What's that going to do, Phil? I'm like, depending on those flashback scenes, that might be
Joe, knowing what we know about season 1, they're not going to be flashback scenes. They're going to be flashback episodes.
Yeah, and
we're going to get whole episodes of the time.
There's some of that in the game. There's some of that in the game. In game 2, there's some flashback scenes where they go back. Joel or Ellie think about. I think it's Ellie thinks about Joel brought her to a museum.
Now,
right?
Now, Joe, let's get into the live chat a little bit here, because a lot of people for this question, showing that situation, like seeing a whole episode with him bringing her to the museum or something like that.
See, I'd like to see it as 2 episodes. One of Joel being completely fucking brutal, either on the way there or back from the museum, then a loving, touching museum episode. I
think they should take a break and go to Kansas City and hang out.
They don't even have to do that. They don't even have to do that as a flashback episode. That's one of the ways you make this longer, and you make that. In the meantime, while we're getting to what's happening, this is what's happening with Joel and Ellie on her 15th birthday. He brings her to a museum. And meanwhile, episodes 4 and 5 is what's going on with Abby.
And Joe, that's how you
stretch out Joel.
That's one of my overall kind of questions here, what I'm going to get to in a second, because I'm seeing a lot in the live chat right now. DJ Better says season 2, the video game, was a piece of garbage. Somebody, Killmonger, I think it was Killmonger maybe, said something, or somebody else said the game is, but the second one is game is trash. Great to see you, Scout. I'm glad that we're doing it.
I thought it was really good. I'd like to know why you thought it was trash.
Okay, but and we can get into that at a different point. I feel like that could be a whole stream onto itself.
That is a whole stream.
About why people dislike the second game. Maybe that'll be the next one of the off-season episodes we do. But I just more want to have you, and this is going to be a tough thing, accept the point that the second game is not as universally accepted as the second game.
And I actually understand where a lot of people come from once we get beyond any like the kind of moral whatever, right? Once you get past that, like when you have to start playing and you realize you're playing now as Abby for a while, like there is a feeling inside the player that doesn't sit right. That's it's a very uneasy feeling, and it's hard to relax into this character that did something horrible to someone who was just trying to survive in the first place, right? And to save the life of Ellie, of a dear friend, a daughter figure in his life. Like, so there is that, and that can turn a lot of people off. But if you could play through that feeling and play the game, or allow yourself to sink into the character and to understand the motivations behind the character, the game, I think, is still
very fair, Joe. But I think that, and this is a question that we're going to have to get into as we approach season 2 and think about this material based around season 2. I agree with everything you're saying there, and I think that works better in a game medium. Is it going to work in a television show? It
depends on how they do it.
And it depends
on if they start out season 2 and just tell Abby's story.
Right, and that's the thing we need to keep. Like, there's so many ways they can approach this. Can they improve on the way the second game story is told to make it more appealing to people that haven't seen that for the first time, and less polarizing, essentially?
Absolutely, I think if say we go into season 2 and they say, you know what, Ellie and Joel aren't even going to be in this fucking season until episode 8.
People would fucking be so pissed.
I don't know about that. I think if you do it right and you tell the story right and tell it literally from like that, the opening scene in the game pretty much is Joel killing off, is like a rehash of that last getting out of the hospital, right? So like if you open it with that and then go straight into like Abby and the doctor's story, and then Joe, telling that from there.
Can I add one extra wrinkle? I would like to see, after that hospital scene, start with the Joel and Ellie thing with the hospital scene, have them go back and see that they're settled back home, and then actually get to see Ellie go to the hospital, find the information out, and then they cut to Abby.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how I want to see them do it, knowing, you know what? I'm talking about this with the excitement that they're not going to, like I had at the beginning before.
Before you saw season 1. And that's what I'm saying. Use that as a mindset. Let's get into the live chat and take a couple questions. And we do have a call-in line tonight. So if you want to call in 781-990-8509. Again, 781-990-8509. We'll be on here for a couple hours talking some spoilers. But this won't be the only time in the offseason we do a show like this. As I said, next time maybe we'll do why people hate the second game and do a whole show on that for people to air their grievances. But don't feel like you can't air your grievances. If you didn't like it, we want to hear why.
Yeah.
We have some voicemails. I know Steph isn't a fan of the second game, and she left us a voicemail, so we're going to get to that in a second too. But let's get to the live chat. Laura Bailey is amazing. Joe, if Abby was alive today, would she be a fitness
That's what
influencer?
I was chuckling at.
Lux, a girl who lifts, who's everything I want in a character. Turkish says, I hate how Ellie lets her live. And as we'll get full spoiler alert at the end of this all, after Ellie loses the first fight, she has a second fight where Abby bites her fingers off, but she wins and starts drowning her and then decides to let her live.
It's about the loss, right? It's about like
and then she goes and tries to
leaving the whole world blind. Like she lost. She gave up fucking everything to go back and then not kill her.
Yeah.
She learned a hard lesson the hard fucking way. You know, like one of the big things about losing her fingers is not only did she lose Joel, but her revenge
cost her music, cost her,
and that was the one thing he really left her with, aside from the rage and the murder and
she had that in fairness, Joe, she had that within her anyway.
Right.
And also to add to it, we haven't talked about this character yet, but it also costs her love and her connection with Dina, I believe the character's name is, as well, who decides to leave because of her going out to seek revenge one last time. So more chat. Sonic says, I like Abby. Most people would be exactly like Abby if they walked her shoes. Killmonger says, I feel bad for anyone who plays as Abby. Luna says, emotional attachments were strong for Joel in game 1, so playing Abby is difficult in game 2. Part 2
extremely difficult.
And I'm going to keep getting through the live chat because keep them coming, everybody. But that's my biggest thing with the show situation, because of how I'm trying to think of another television example where the main character, where a character gets introduced and kills a fan favorite, then becomes a favorite character. The best example I can think of, and it's a show you didn't watch to the end, or maybe you did, would be Ben Linus from Lost. When he was introduced, spoiler alert for Lost, he kills John Locke, he kills a bunch of like important characters and causes a bunch of disarray, and then by the end, you're liking him and you're thinking of him as someone you're sort of rooting for in a weird, warped fucking way. I don't know if... And that's with the whole thing, Joe. I think for me, from a television standpoint, I would think unless they do masterful storytelling that's going to take even more than 2 seasons worth, and you're going to spend a lot of time hate watching, it can't be as sharp as when The Walking Dead, when Negan killed our characters, he became the main character for a while. They can't have it seem like that. They have to make us sympathetic for Abby before we see her kill Joel, because everyone loves Pedro Pascal. She is going to beat Pedro Pascal to death with I don't know what kind of instrument, but with like a blunt instrument.
With blunt objects, correct.
To death after he's
in front of Ellie and Tommy.
And Dina, I believe, as well. But like it's
no, Dina's.
I think she's.
Not there.
Oh no, they already ditched her because. Oh no, but whatever, it doesn't matter. We'll see what the show does, but yes, basically does that in front of them, and it's horrifying, right? It's like a horrifying graphic kill.
Yeah.
So
they're gonna have to really, and that's why I think they'll focus the first part of the second season, or at least the bulk of it, on Abby. They got to make you like that. And
is casting key? Do you have anyone?
Casting is key. Have you seen some of the comments about Abby's arms?
So she's like Ronda Rousey, like she's
her arms are almost a character in and of themselves. At first, it looks really awkward. they look like they don't really fit her body. You get used to it, but it doesn't really look right at first. It didn't look right at first to my eyes. However, if they miss out on this, this is very important. It goes a long way to the character of Abby, that after her father dies, she really changes and becomes hell bent on finding this guy and doing what she needs to do to find her peace, right? And
Going
she
full,
knows that
going.
this guy is a fucking a monster commando psycho killer who went in and fucking wiped out an entire fucking platoon of fireflies and killed a bunch of other innocent
So
people
she's
too.
going full Bane to try to break the Batman's back here.
Right. So she's working out. She's like one of the soldiers. She wants to be ready when it's time, and when she finds this guy or when she finds a lead to go get this
How does
guy.
she know who he is? To know, does he
So
is he
there
stupid
was
enough to disclose
evidence
it?
probably left at, so when in the series he leaves the two nurses alive.
Yes.
In the game, if you were like me, you killed everybody. There's just nobody
So in the
stays
show,
alive.
what's going to happen is
But even
he's gonna save her. They're gonna bring her back. She's gonna bring them back to camp, and the nurses are gonna tell Abby that's the guy that killed your
yeah,
father.
and even in the game, when you're on your way out, you grab Ellie at a point and you run down a hallway, and you're still being chased by a dozen soldiers. And they have bad aim and they're slow and it's dark, and if you take the right turns, you basically get out of the hospital, right? No matter what difficulty you're on, because you don't have a weapon you can really use. You're carrying the girl, and you're all like, "Oh no!" and you're exhausted, all this shit. And you get out of the hospital, you get down, you kill Marlene. So there are other soldiers there still in the game that know
Who
or
Joe that
have
know
been talking to the other people that
right
know
and
what's going on at this
can
point,
give a
right? So
description, and they know Joel and
they know
Tommy,
Joel Miller,
and they know Tommy
right?
too because Tommy used to be a Firefly. Some of them might
And
know.
Tommy used to be a Firefly, and Marlene used to date Tommy, and Marlene probably said,
Right.
"Yeah, it's Tommy's fucking brother," and
Yeah.
that's
And
where they.
then when they save Abby, they could just be like, "Oh, my name's Tommy and Joel."
Yep, and who knows? Maybe they were already fixing to, like, those Fireflies. Maybe they're already fixing. Tommy went this way when I last saw her. Maybe Joel went to
And
Tommy,
Joe,
so she could have told them also where Tommy was. So that's why they end
that's
up
why
like
it's
looking in
different
that direction.
than like you playing it rather than me reading a synopsis of it. I was wondering whether it was a plan staged by Abby with the infected, but that would just be extra stupid. Undead, we got a couple of people saying a comment like this and asking Joe and asking us what we think. I think Bella Ramsey's good, but I don't think she can carry the show by herself. Eric Graham also says, do you think Ellie will be able to carry the show? I know people have also voiced some of the more, if Abby is this bulky person and her arms are a weapon and a character, as some people in the live chat have said, and you're hinting at right now, is Bella going to be able to play someone that can take her in a fist fight in the end of the series?
Okay, so as far as Bella goes, I'll say this about them.
She took on a giant in Game of Thrones.
Not so they took on the giant game. And this is what I was going to say about Bella's talent. Their talent is such that they come on screen in Game of Thrones as this little girl, and she gives one of the most, I thought, like, powerful fucking commanding performances in the few seconds she's on fucking with her little lines that she had, right? And I think she carried a large part of the weight here in this show so far. You didn't really hear me complain too much about the job she did in
No,
this.
not after the first couple of episodes. I think
And
what
yeah.
I was just gonna say, I think people are more thinking about her destroying, being able to destroy Abby in a fight if they do Abby
And
right.
that's the thing. If they don't cast an Abby that has fucking arms like
Mr. Wonderful Paul
like
Orndorff.
dude, she has to have some fucking like Ronda Rousey style physique and shit. Like seriously, like not just her like China arms or something. Like she doesn't have to be full on fucking China, but like those arms got to look almost like, honestly, in the game, because of the shirts she's wearing or whatever, they look almost comical because they keep a large part of the rest of her body very feminine looking, right? And a lot of times when someone has built up their body to the extent that she had her arms built up into the size they were, they didn't match the frame that would accompany someone lifting the amount of weights and the amount of reps and the amount of time spent doing that. Now, she wasn't exactly like a way for like, curvaceous and all that shit either, but like it it didn't quite match. So they really should go with someone that is like professional fucking wrestler, professional fucking MMA, and really give them like a full 6 month hardcore fucking acting coach and go at it like that rather than choosing some fucking Hollywood pretty girl or the next it girl and being like, this is the girl we're just gonna, you have to believe she's capable. Because I'm sorry, I'm sick and tired of seeing zero muscle mass people like flip around a fucking screen like the Tomb Raider girls and kick ass. Like I'm not saying I wouldn't get my ass kicked by many a woman out there. I'm saying like there's a scene in like in Southland where Lucy Liu gets fucked up by this dude that's like 7 feet tall and 350 fucking pounds. Like, I'm sorry, you may know a lot, you may even have fucking weapons, but like once that dude gets his hands on you, it's the mountain in Oberon. You have fucking heads getting crushed. There's not much you can fucking do. It's just, that's it. There's a reason why there's weight classes in these sports,
Joe. Okay,
right? So like the important thing is it's Ellie's capability and Ellie's fucking psychotic mind and behavior and that being able to do whatever she needs to do, opposed to like Abby's full-on training and bodybuilding and getting ready for it in a completely
right. So you're
way.
saying essentially it's Bella's going to be playing it more as being so rageful and with revenge that it doesn't matter, and going to be conquering the bodybuilding stuff. I want to get to a couple of comments in the live chat.
Yeah, Undead. I was about to read Undead's. Yes, and I'm sure there are actresses with muscles rather than hiring a wrestler. I was being a little facetious with that. I'd
you just
rather see them do that than go the absolute
right.
other
You just want to see.
Like, this is the next hot it girl. Let's cast her.
Right. You just want to see them do that justice to make it to because that was a character onto itself.
That right. The way Abby looked was almost exactly a character onto himself. Her arms played a role in this fucking game more than just Abby played, or as much as Abby herself played. Like, you felt like you could kick the ass that you were kicking throughout, right?
Now, Joe, let's get back into the live chat for a second. We got the amazing, awesome Teflon TV, Tony from Teflon TV, my other partner in podcasting crime. Make sure if you haven't already, you're subscribed to Teflon TV. And he asked the question that we were talking a little bit about earlier, Joe, in how do you make her beat the main person's head with a golf club and then make people give a shit about her?
Because if you tell Sonic, a man kills your dad because your dad's about to come up with a cure to save the fucking world. That's plenty of motivation to make one care for Abby. So if you tell this story in season 2 and you come at it from a different direction than the game came at it, and you just basically start telling Abby's story, right? And largely leave out Ellie and Joel at first, you can get a large audience of sympathetic viewers on wagon before you go back to Ellie and Joel and have them end up meeting up with and bashing his
Joe,
fucking head in.
think they're going to start the season in episode 1 with bashing his fucking head in and then split the stories after that point. I think the first time we see Abby is going to be basically her. And this is the question we have to go from now until then. How are they going to fucking do this?
It's not that early in the game, though. You have things you're doing with Abby before. Like, and then there's stuff going on with Ellie before. There's like stories going on, like, how have they been living? What's their roles? It's been years. This isn't a story that picks up first off. This isn't like they die and go back to Jackson.
It's 4 years later, right?
Months. Right. It's like 4 or 5. It's at least 5 years.
I'm just not sure when. I'm just not sure when we bump into her. Let's get
time has gone by. So in order to do that time jump, you can do that time jump well and do like a 4 year, 4 episodes, 4 years of fucking Abby training and learning and talking about getting her
You're
revenge
living
and
it.
getting to know those other characters that she's going to have with her, that Joel and Tommy, that you want the audience to feel bad too when our
You're living
main
in a
heroes
dream
go and
world,
fucking
thinking
kill
they're gonna
these
do it
people.
like that, though. Like,
Of course, they're not going to do it good.
you're living in the world where Vince,
where things are written nice.
Where
and
Vince
right.
Gilligan is making this damn show, Joe. He's not. Vince Gilligan's not walking in this room. Larry Bird's not walking in this room.
Honestly, are you going to lose? You're going to lose audience if you don't. Now there's plenty of characters, right? There's plenty of characters in this.
Is Martin Scorsese
what
doing
if,
this, Joe?
What if I forget the guy's name, but you probably have it in your notes. There in game 2, there's Abby's main kind of love interest guy.
Yeah.
What's his name?
I'm blanking. I do have it somewhere. Give me
So
give
this
me one
guy,
second.
right? No, I'm just saying.
Lev is no, it's not Lev.
No, not Lev. That's a different character. But there's a guy she ends up fucking on a boat, right?
Owen.
That's with her. Yeah, Owen. Owen is with her. Is the one that kind of ditches her at the very beginning, and she gets lost and chased by walkers right into Joel. But Owen, what if, right? You want to get everybody on board? What if you made that fucking Channing Tatum? What if you made that some like really big hunky fucking star? Like I wouldn't Channing Tatum would probably be bad, but like who the fuck knows? Like you could make that anybody that people would be like, oh, Pedro Pascal's in it, but this dude's fucking in it too. My nipples are fucking hard, right? Why not?
I mean, he is Channing Tatum.
Even if Abby's not the draw, even if like there's other characters here in this community
Atari
that she's at over in San Francisco, San Jose, or wherever the Oakland area.
Yep.
Are they up in Seattle? They're in Seattle. Sorry, they talk about going to San Francisco at a different time, but like they're up in like Seattle, and like there's plenty of characters there and there's a huge story that goes on there where they're involved with Lev and the Seraphites and fighting them. Like, so
and the Seraphites are a religion
told to get you on board with Abby before you ever have to go back to Ellie. And there's plenty of characters that you're gonna fucking fall in love with and be fucking really fucking hurt. And then you do it that way. You do it that way for all the people that don't know and haven't seen this shit, right? You do it that way, and you leave you leave everybody in fucking Jackson out of it for most of this whole season, right? And
not gonna happen.
When it comes time for the clash, who's got the fucking plot armor? Who's got the when people start dying? No matter what side they fucking die on, there's going to be large
Joe,
amounts
do you
of
know what
people
you're
going,
describing?
Yay!
Joe, you're describing the movie Heat with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino.
No, that's too mixed up. That's all woven together like a little.
But
time
it is.
here,
but I'm saying, like, by the end, you're rooting for both of them. You're screaming at the screen
to
Niro not to save his
not
girlfriend.
True. Heat was fucking awful. The only thing about that movie that is any good
is the action.
Is De Niro kills Machete.
Spoiler alert.
And the big gunfight at the end.
I disagree. I don't want to get into an argument with you about Heat. That'll be a different show.
About Heat? Oh yeah, because that movie's fucking trash, dude.
Again, you're someone that hates Birdman, so I'll take that with a grain of fucking salt. Fucking hating Birdman and fucking.
Dude, that movie is more trash.
Oh, you're fucking so
I'd
full of
rather
shit.
Sit through
You're
3
dumb.
hours
You're
of Heat
fucking dumb.
Than fucking 10 minutes of Birdman.
Yeah.
If you're talking about The Heat now.
Okay, Logan hater.
The Heat with Melissa McCarthy and that Speed chick.
John Haymaker's with you. Peggy says you're full of shit. Okay, we'll get into this more as we go on. But Joe, let's get into our first voicemail of the night from the amazing, wonderful Tracy G. Let's see what Tracy G has to say tonight.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Brady. No, not Mr. Brady.
Mr. Brady?
The guy from Mom. In the wheelchair is in that too.
Oh, isn't that? Oh no, I'm thinking
he's also in Armageddon as the dick that wants to set off the nuke.
There's always a dick that wants to set off a nuke, Joe. Here we go, Tracy G.
Greetings, it's me.
Oh, this isn't Tracy. Sorry, this is not Tracy G. This is our other buddy. They both have the same. They're both from area code 773.
My last prequel call for a good long while. Looking forward to these episodes. I don't know if it's technically tonight because it's still the good afternoon for me, but I'm looking forward to hearing what we're going to talk about.
This was a pre-show question, but thank you so much, buddy, for calling on in. We do appreciate it. But here we go. This is the real. Sorry to set that up. Sorry for the foreplay with no payoff. This is the real Tracy G.
Hey, Phil and Joe. This is Tracy G. So I just wanted to call. So my overall thoughts of season 1, I would pretty much give it I'd probably give it a 5 out of 10. 3 for production and 2 for basically the episode 5 and episode 1. I still think they did a bad job with as far as like casting Joel and Ellie. But that's about it. It wasn't a good first season. Now, as far as season 2 goes, I do kind of agree with Joe on a lot of stuff that he's saying. However, the game has pacing issues, and it's not really a good game. The best part about game 2 is Ellie. So me personally, I think they should recast Bella Ramsey and get somebody in there that's believable, that can play a 23, 24-year-old girl. Because
she's already 19 in real life.
And we'll play the rest of Tracy's message in a second. I know I've heard a lot of people saying that, but they've already come out. Bella Ramsey's come out with both middle fingers, and it's not happening. Anyone who's hoping for that to happen, I'm
on board with Bella Ramsey continuing. I think she's going to be completely capable. I told Phil the other day, I watched the last 4 episodes of the season all over again, and like straight through. And I'm going to say this about, she said a 3 for production. I scored a 6.5 on the season, so she and I aren't too far off. It's a 1.5 difference. And I really want to stress that 1.5 difference is or at least a point of it is probably for the production. Is for how well they made it look like the video game environment, for how well the characters resembled, even though they didn't resemble in all the ways people imagined they would, they resembled and embodied those characters in every detail. The actors, I thought the acting was very well, and so they got a little bit of extra there for the points there. But Bella Ramsey ain't going to go anywhere. But one of the things about the production that you really can see a lot is you can really see the Under Armour that Bella Ramsey has on under her clothing and how it affects her movement and body mechanics. So there might be a little bit of flat affect in her movement anyway. And I can see people seeing that in her face too at times, but I think it works well for the character she's supposed to be playing, a very blunted, she's outgoing and she's an extrovert mostly, but she's also very shut off and emotionally doesn't regulate.
Are you excited?
Well at all.
Are you excited to see her do some of the season 2 stuff? Because someone was saying,
yes, I am.
Ellie's the best part of the second game. I think universally most people enjoy Ellie, and that keep those hearts coming, keep those reactions going. I want to go into the live chat before I finish Tracy's message. I liked Ellie better, but Bella grew on me. I liked game Ellie better, but Bella grew on me. She seems angrier in the show than in the game, and I somewhat like that, says Hedge. Abby is swell, says Eric. Bella is okay, but there are other actresses that maybe could have done it better, says Luna. Bella's in there. She ain't going anywhere, says Killmonger. Bella can do it. I have no doubt, says Sonic. Maddie says, how can you do a spoiler show based on a video game? Don't we kind of know what's going to happen since it's already happened? But there are some people that maybe click on.
And here's the thing:
that
it's
watch
not
week
a
to week.
spoiler for you then, but other people it might be, so they get the spoiler tag.
There you go, Joe. Show me the doll. Lux is like, everyone in the chat, show me on the doll where Abby decided to hurt you.
How can you do a spoiler on any material that's been published?
I mean,
I'm doing a spoiler. How can you do a spoiler on a Stephen King book? Like it's a book that sold 1 million copies. Yeah.
You mean
Some
if
people
like
don't read.
if we're like doing the It movie or something, like if we were doing like
Right. Like a lot of people don't play video games. I know a lot of people who are really into fucking video games that have had zero interest. Phil doesn't play first person shooters. If he does this for like 5 fucking minutes just to check out the graphics
it gives me a
and
headache.
reaffirm the fact that he can't do it.
Yeah,
I doesn't like them.
I'm too uncoordinated by
It's like the same reason why I play RPGs.
Yeah,
it's
like it's you trying to figure out a Final Fantasy puzzle or something.
right. Yeah.
It's,
oh God.
Yeah, you be in dog shit hell. But yeah, Maddie, that's the point. Like there can't be any spoil. But for me, it's just the warning that I was holding those things
for the
back.
people who watch the show.
And I have to answer a question. A couple people have asked the question: did I spoil myself, or was it spoiled for me? The game itself was spoiled for me years ago when it came out. Because everyone was talking about it, and if you were at all sort of in video game circles on message boards at the time, like people just spoiled the shit out of what happened in this game. So I knew a long time ago that basically Joel.
Oh yeah, I told you about this.
Yeah,
game.
you told me about it too. Like, you got to play this game, blah, 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 blah. And then the main character dies. Like, I knew that part of it. I didn't know the rest of the game. And then I chose to spoil myself for the rest of the game to be able to talk about this in the off season. And that's when I sort of went back and watched. And I've watched Joe stream the first one more, but I watched him stream the second one a little bit as well. So I somewhat soiled my own drawers, but in a sense, it was hard to avoid it when the game first came out. So here's the rest of Tracy's message.
There are articles everywhere.
Everywhere, just lead articles, game facts, message boards, and Zelda message boards. People were talking about it. You know, it was just
review bombing it for its wokeness
or whatever, or for hating Abby's itch or your woke hand. Here we go. Here, Tracy G.
Carry the show. Ellie's relationship with Dina, just carry the show and be a beast and a real badass type of chick. So hopefully they'll be able to do that. But that was it. Just wanted to provide some thoughts. Not really high on season 2. If they can get casting in order, it will probably work, but I'm kind of doubting it, considering we still are working with Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazinand. So, with that being said, talk to you later, guys. Phil, just wanted to double check. Did you watch The Consultant on Amazon Prime? It was very similar to Severance on Apple TV, and it has the guy from Django Unchained and Inglourious Basterds. Thanks. Bye.
Nice. I have not checked it out, but I do need some new shows. Yeah, we'll definitely check that out and maybe talk about that on our weekly roundabout show. And hopefully we'll get some guests, The Walking David, Tony, to bounce in on those as well to get their perspectives on the shows that they're watching. But we're going to try to do those, stick to our Sunday, but maybe do a midweek thing. But try to keep Joe engaged in this at least once a week to talk.
Amazing Painless Dentistry, Dr. Schultz in what was it called? Consultant?
The Consultant, I believe, on Amazon Prime. So here we go. Let's get to this.
I love them. So
let's get to this voicemail from Steph Snow.
Hey, Phil, it's Steph Snow. So I was thinking about the show this week and talking with some friends, and I don't know. I think it's weird that they never addressed the whole David thing after the fact. Like, she never said, like, hey, I tried to save you, or like, hey, that was really crazy what just happened to you, or anything like that.
Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy. You tried to eat me, so stop being lazy. Sorry.
Please have my baby.
And please have, they tried to eat you, but no, please have my baby. That's better, Jeff.
The whole like resort town they just escaped from, and they never ever talked to them ever again.
What happens in resort towns stays in resort towns, Steph. You know what?
Right?
You know. Come on.
There was a lot kind of wrong.
And we'll play the rest of your message, of course.
With that way they played that out, like it works a lot better in the game too. If Joel ends up in the room and Joel has to kill some people in the resort town, and she moves from building to building and kills people too. But like either way, it works better with him stopping her, chopping his head up rather than catching her outside, not seeing what she was doing at that moment. Like, him seeing that is, okay, I'm never fucking asking her. I am never going to ask her what made her fucking go ham on that dude's fucking head. Nope. Fucking nope. Looked like fucking pulled chicken, pulled pork when she was done. No fucking way will I ask her about it. She wants to tell me about it, she'll tell me about it, but I am not going to ask her. Right? Catching her outside. Why are you so upset? What's going on? Why'd you burn that fucking building down? What's up?
Yeah. But
Where is everybody? I haven't seen anybody in town. Did you do that? Did you hang those people back there where your book bag was, little girl? What the fuck did
Joe,
you do to these people?
Don't worry about it. Let's just go bowling, dude. You know,
yeah, let's just go sit at the lake. They walk over to the lake shore. Where the fuck they were gonna walk around the lake? There wasn't a different way to go. Like, let's go clean up down at the water, maybe. I don't know, but it was a little weird. It works better in the game. Him stopping her from like continuing to chop up, fucking dice this dude's skull with the machete that she had.
Joe,
in the game, in the series, it's a cleaver instead.
Joe, from our channel member Luna at Dirty Locks and Phil, what are the odds we'll see more infected in season 2? Will they learn their lesson and give us more infected in the story, or is it going to be the same percentages?
I doubt it, because here's the thing: in season 2, in game 2, your threats are not. Even though you have, and they introduce new type of infected called a stalker, and another type that jumps off the wall.
I don't need new ones. I still want more bloaters. We only
right?
saw that
more
one
bloaters.
bloater.
Then Ellie and Joel never even fucking fought more than 2 or 3 clickers. Like, fuck. Anyway.
We're just getting started. We don't need more.
I doubt we'll see that, because you have the Seraphim.
Are they Pokemon? Do we have like the Pikachu one coming next?
You have the Seraphim, and you have whatever the Abby's. I forget what Abby's people are called that are warring, and you have the Jacksonville drama. So there's not much room for more zombie threat stuff, so I wouldn't expect much more than an episode or a scene or 2 every couple episodes.
Are they called the WLF, Joe?
Yes, the Wolves, the Washington Liberation Front or Force or some shit like that.
And let's continue here with Steph Snow's A Voice Mail.
Yes, the Wolves.
Right.
Oh, I get it. Like wolf.
Like wolf, yeah, like the wolves.
That's even a line. Like at one point, Dina's like, "Oh, I get it." Like wolves.
The wolves, like, we need Carol just to destroy all of them. Even twice as much infected, there would be better. Champagne, yes, more. We need more. They all seem like really polite cannibals. We got the wonderful, amazing Corey Mitchell in the live chat right now. If Neil would just give us an option to kill.
That's because most of them didn't know they were cannibals. They figured, but they didn't know for sure.
Yeah.
Because the venison doesn't always taste the same.
No, it could be a little rubbery.
And this meat really smelled like fucking Bill.
Yeah. It really stunk of some Bill, right? I see some people argue the fact that Joel and Ellie didn't kill as many people might actually help with the overall message for the second game. What do you think about that, Joe?
What?
I'll read that one more time. This is from our good buddy Atari Dad. I've heard some people argue that the fact that Joel and Ellie didn't kill as many might actually help with the overall message for the second game. What are your thoughts on that? Or
I don't think it does. I think it puts more of an emphasis on Abby being a bad than
right. It makes it harder
than just a person.
It goes to Tony's point. It makes it. I think if you do it that way, it makes it even more difficult to make Abby a sympathetic character.
Sympathetic, right? You need Joel and Ellie fucking killing their way across the fucking country. Both zombies, or clickers and runners and all that shit, plus all the people they have to kill. They largely get through fucking Kansas City without having to kill anybody.
No,
they killed 3 people right when they get there, but
and Joe's expectations for the whole show with the whole Kathleen thing. But other than that, they didn't kill anybody in Kansas City. Let's get back to Steph's message.
This whole resort town they just escaped from, and they never ever talked to them ever again. I thought that was kind of bizarre in hindsight, now that I'm looking back. And I just thought that was weird. And I'm just thinking about the last episode again. I just feel like they rushed through the whole doctor scene, and they definitely should have provided a little more factual information as to how Ellie was going to save everyone, and they just
Right, because
Go, Joe.
absolutely. What they basically do is they come in and they have Marlene give a little exposition about like, oh, we ran tests and the only thing we can do is kill her. But don't worry, we didn't tell her we were going to kill her. We just drugged her. So she didn't have a choice about it. And you get the fuck out. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, really? You don't do any kind of like, there's a lot of tests you should be running. And then like, even if you do, what factory, where are you synthesizing to mass produce and then distribute this? Right? Like, and then like part of it also becomes what Joel and Ellie have to do to get across the country. It's not just about what you have to do, but what people are trying to do to you.
Yeah.
And
Wasn't too
because
bad.
of that, what people are trying to do to you and the awfulness that people have become, is that something you're willing to make that sacrifice for?
To achieve your goal in that kind of situation, to become part of it and do what you need to do to survive as well.
Well, no, but then like, and then you get there, and then you're like, okay, we're gonna save humanity. Okay, but what humanity are we saving? The Kathleen's? We're gonna distribute it to like to Fedra also, who are running their own kind of like, fascist government. The Kathleen fascist government, the Jackson communist government. They get it. Like. Who becomes the distributor of this? Does the Firefly say all hail us, or you don't get it?
Probably. I mean, that's
right. And then that becomes the thing of like, what the fuck would you be saving? What kind of humanity are you saving at that point? Right? Like, people wanted to do nothing but murder and fucking kill and rape you and eat you the entire way across the fucking country, and you're just trying to save the fucking world. Is that what you're trying to save? The freedom for people to rape and murder and kill and eat each other? Doesn't sound like something I'd particularly be like, yes, cut my brain out and let them do it without having to worry about clickers. Like, oh, fuck that. Let these motherfuckers get eaten by clickers who want to do that. Fuck that. Nah. I don't save that world. That world ain't worth saving.
Let's get into this.
Perhaps, right?
There's as long as there's beauty, Joe. As long as there's beauty. No, let's get back to the Steph's message.
Rushed it. I'm definitely convinced that it was just rushed. And then hearing after the scenes, the people that play Joel and Ellie and Neil Druckmann, I mean, he's almost become the Dan and Dave to me of the season. He just seems to have these very...
In fairness, everyone's becoming Dan and Dave because they're the first ones that did these like post-episode descriptions, so you don't think too much on your own, and they're like,
so you don't have to, so they can explain to you what brilliantness they were doing.
Exactly. Explain
like
to you
Carol
what the thing.
King on fucking
Carol King on The Walking Dead, The Talking Dead. Yeah, maybe the Talking Dead started, but I feel like Dan and Dave were the first two to do this horrible thing where like right after the episode airs, the creator's ugly ass face is right there, being like, "This is what I meant to do." Like, no, I'm sorry. This isn't fucking theater. This isn't a workshop afterwards where the actors come out and get to talk to you about what they were thinking in their performance.
You completely remove here's a piece of art.
Let people feel and think themselves.
Right? Here's a piece of art. Jesus. But don't have your own thought about it.
Yeah. No, this is what we're trying to do. Don't interpret this, Joe. Don't interpret what Whitman meant. I'm going to tell you exactly what he meant with bang drum bang. I'm just going to tell you what the fuck he meant. Someone was out. He had a neighbor that was a loud ass drummer that was banging, and that's what Whitman meant. Done.
Like, yeah. Like,
sorry for the way
it's, and I know someone might out there saying like, well, that's what you guys are doing. You're telling us what thought it is. No, we're telling you what our thought is. What we got from the piece of art that we just...
And we're wrong 50% of the time. Yeah, we're wrong.
Hopefully,
If
hopefully it's
Joe,
it's as high as 50% that we're right.
as a local radio celebrity in our area, Mr. Eddie Endelman once said, "If I'm right 51% of the time, I'm win." Like that's all I care about. I want to be in my arguments when I'm a loud, obnoxious asshole. I'm going for 51%, Joe. That's what I'm trying. Like half the time I'm a dumbass. I'll be a dumbass. I'm going for that. I'm trying.
A winning record is okay. Hopefully we have one, but like. And that's the thing. We're telling you what our interpretations and
no, we're part of the problem. Don't get away from that. We're part of the problem, but that's beside the point.
Are we?
We're not the creators of it. If you and I made a movie, I wouldn't want us coming out right afterwards telling people how to feel about the fucking movie.
No. I'm not telling people how to feel about the movie. I'm telling people what I thought and how I felt, and how could they not feel the same.
Right. But do you?
And I want to know, literally, it's not why don't like how come you don't feel the same. Let me know why like it works well to have
when you're asked
because I don't understand it and it doesn't work well.
Fair enough, Joe. When you're asked the damn question in an honest fashion, this is like propaganda. It's like television propaganda when they put these guys up there and they're like,
that's exactly what it is.
Tell me what's great about it. This is
why Kathleen is such a great character, because we're showing you how revenge leads just to your own demise.
Yeah. Well, anyone that may think she wasn't quite fleshed out don't get that that's what we're trying to go for there with a not quite fleshed out character that's overwhelmed by this world. So she has a blank stare that has no emotion. And it's because she's overwhelmed by the actions of the moment.
Yep.
And it's that propaganda shit that bothers me. Not people giving honest reviews or reactions that are different than mine, or even way after the fact, years later. And I'm part of the problem. I listen to the Better Call Saul Insiders podcast. I think they're more honest than some, but there's a lot of ball washing on that show too.
I don't listen to any of them. I don't listen to. I like the. It's not that I'm not interested in hearing the opinions of other people.
No, but if you want it, you'll seek it out. It shouldn't just be on the back of it. Like when we got DVDs and Blu-rays, or when people still bought those, I think they still do now, whatever. But when you get the bonus features, they don't automatically go into the bonus features. You have to choose to click on the bonus features. I don't want the first time I watch something to immediately see what Quentin Tarantino thought about what was in Marcellus Wallace's box. I don't need that. If I want that information, I'll go seek it out myself. Creators will be out, and again, I don't want to spend too much time on that, but I think it's this weird. It's not just them. Everyone's doing it now, and I blame Dan and Dave. This is just I blame Game of Thrones.
You got to blame whoever did the. Let's have the interview talk over on the DVDs.
It's the equivalent of the worst part of any sporting event when they interview the coach before you go into the locker room at halftime. Your team's down 47 points. How do you feel about this? What are you gonna? What changes?
We feel great. We're going to Disneyland.
Yeah.
Oh wait. So we're down?
No, we're down?
I didn't notice.
Sorry. We'll do our best to give you best on the field. Goodbye. It's like the most useless freaking interview in the world, and I don't want to hear right after the episode airs when they're still trying to sell it. Sorry. Anyways, sorry for my mini rant. Back to Steph Snow.
Convoluted ideas.
Giving people their talking point for the next day. Like, this is what you really want to say if you want to sound like you know what you're talking about at the cooler tomorrow.
Yeah,
that's what they're doing. They're letting America. They're giving people their talking points for the next day. Oh, did you know those giraffes were real? They said that they used real giraffes because they wanted to make it. And so, like, what you saw that shit everywhere, right? That was everywhere for the next week.
Don't interpret that scene a different way. We need to know that person was a good person doing that thing. You can't think it was a misguided effort. You have to think this exact way. Anyways, let's get back to Steph's message here. So I've been stringing her along for a while here. Let's go.
Season, he just seems to have these very convoluted ideas of just ounce of respect for the show, and then just his vision being holier than thou. And I don't know, none of those episodes made me feel better about the episode. He just left a very sour taste in my mouth. He just seemed like he was just so full of himself, and I just didn't like that approach to the scene because it definitely
David?
wasn't without some of
No, I think she's talking about Druckmann in the after shows.
its
Oh
flaws.
yeah.
And he just
Absolutely
looks
full
at
of
it.
himself in it. Like,
I'll be
and
right back.
here's the thing. The dude has like the right to be full of himself for a little bit of a reason, and that's because he wrote the game too, and all the really good parts of this show, well, most of the really good parts of this show are ripped straight from the fucking game, frame for frame, line for line, maybe reverse images, like Sarah over his right shoulder instead of over his left shoulder or some shit like that. But for the most part, like all that shit was really good, and it was put onto film really good. And a lot of what makes this show great are those scenes. And those scenes were great the first time, and those scenes were actually pretty great this time. The actors held their own in comparison. To be truthful, to the point where they were done so well the first time that when Ashley Johnson was on screen in that final episode, every noise that came out of her mouth brought me right back into the first game. I heard Ellie's actual voice in those pitches and screams and grunts and deep breathing that she was doing, exhausted breathing that she was doing, like every word, like the "take my baby and then kill me," like every fucking sound that came out of her head put me right into the fucking game, like it was Ellie doing it herself, like because it was her voice. Like that's how great the game was, and those actors that were part of the game, David's number 2, who played Joel, Ashley Johnson, who played Ellie, Marlene, who played Marlene, even the woman that played Tess in the original game, and the woman that played her in this was really great too.
Yep, Anna Torva or whatever.
Anna Torva, yeah, and but
Anna Torva.
so he has a kind of a right to be full of himself, but he does come across that way when he's talking about this.
I think
that has a lot to do with what Phil and I were saying, what you said about it's that smoke blowing, like
it's the context of it, though. It's the context.
Sell it.
That's the game now. It's like me promoting my stupid song. Like
if they're gonna do it, they gotta sell it.
You have to play the stupid game right now. And we got Dracarys, Bitch, Jackie in the live chat. You're not the only one that's gonna be defending the game too. You got Joe. You got a big cheerleader right here in the live stream who's a fan of the second game. But maybe you might have to swing some fists in the live chat. But not from Joe. Joe is a huge fan of the second game, and I have not played it yet. So I'm gonna be I know the story, though, because why the hell not? So let's get to the voice at 916.
Hello, this is the voice at 916. Hello, Phil. Hello, Joe.
Hi.
Hello, family. In my opinion, thinking of part 2, we are showing the mirror reflection of Joel and Ellie. Part 1, Joel was dealing with the trauma of loss, all the things he had to do to stay alive, as well as past trauma. Ellie's doing the same thing in part 2. She's dealing with the loss of Joel, all the things that she and he had bonded with, and the memories of that, and the loss and the betrayal she felt when she found out the truth about what happened in...
Stop that. That's a good point. That is a great point that she has there too. She finds out the truth. We get flashbacks of her going back to the hospital in Colorado on her own. Joel ends up following her and meeting her there, or meeting her on her way back or something like that. But she goes there.
Does she just find all the dead bodies and stuff?
She not only does she find all the dead bodies. No, the dead bodies are gone. It's been 4 years. They've probably rotted or whatever, but like there's some corpses, there's whatever, or bones, who knows? I can't remember specifically that detail, but she also finds some of the documents that say, this is what we were going to do. This is what's in her head. Some of the CAT scans that they took and other things like that they didn't really get into in the series. So she does find out. She confronts Joel again outside when they run into each other. She's like, listen, tell me the truth right now or I'll never be able to, like, or we're done. You know, and
he admits to not being able to kill her because he didn't want to be alone and blah, 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 blah. And then ultimately another big part of the second game is...
And she's like, that wasn't up to you. That wasn't up to you. Right, Ellie. But what the part of this that you're missing here, Ellie, is that they didn't leave it up to you either.
Yeah, they were just
and
doing
it was your fucking choice, not theirs and not mine. And they stopped me from stopping them from killing you until you could make that choice. Right down to the fucking doctor who said, I won't let you take her. Well, if you don't let me take her, more soldiers are going to come and kill me. So guess what? You need to die right here, right now, doctor, because what you're about to do is so supremely unethical. You didn't even ask the fucking girl. There was a million other tests you could have run. You would only, like, this is hours later. Joel just woke up from getting bashed out. It's not like they put Joel under for a week and a half and were running tests this whole fucking time. They knocked Joel out with a fucking stun gun and a hit to the head. And when he woke up, which presumably isn't hours and hours and hours or a day later, it's probably rather, soon.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It, like, what the fuck? And what the fuck, Marlene? Why would you have gone and told him beforehand?
Yeah, we talked about that. I was just about to say that, Joe. We talked about that a lot last week, and we're talking about it again right now. The biggest mistake that they made was not keeping him knocked out until the thing was done.
Or at least just locked in a room and like.
No, it's let's bring this train
killer.
Why
not just fucking kill him?
Joe, don't worry. We're gonna spin him around in a couple circles on the highway so he doesn't know which direction we went into, and then we're just gonna walk away.
Arlene says it himself. I lost everybody that came to bring me out here. I barely made it myself. I almost died. How the fuck did you do it? How did you and that little girl, how did you take a little girl across the fucking country?
As we established at the beginning of the season, and again,
he is capable of shit.
Right, and again at the end, she's somewhat afraid of him or doesn't want to owe him, understands that he's someone not to be messed with, and she even says it to him in the scene. And in that moment, again, keep him tied up and locked up in that place until you guys are long gone, long fucking gone.
And all of that talk about who Joel is, like, we get yet again the smallest glimpse of it right here. And we had a whole season to get to know the Joel that she should have been afraid of, that everybody should be afraid of, that they talk about like is someone to be aware is always around.
I mean, I still think they pulled it off at the end, but they pulled it off more in the end that it was someone who was good at that, doing it again one more time.
Dude, I still say he had a smile on his face.
We never saw it the first time of him being if they were going to give us more time in the season, we should have seen a little bit of the section of when him and Tommy were out there just destroying people, and then make it seem like through the whole, if they were going to do this Joel, and then see another flashback of it to actually see him in action in that way. Instead, it was a lot of saying he was vicious, and then we saw it again at the end, like oh my God, he's having that drink again for the first time. But
exactly, that's the look on his face I saw.
But we never saw him indulge to begin with to say, oh my God, he's doing it again. We only just finally say, oh, he's finally doing it. So I think, to Joe's point, if they had showed us some more element of Joel being that, whether it be a flashback with him and Tommy, more scenes with him and Ellie, if they wanted to keep the Joel and Ellie scenes the same way they did them this right now, the same thing could have been done with a flashback to him and Tommy, showing the viciousness of them in one of our intros instead of meeting the new character of the week.
I still like it with Ellie, not with Tommy. It needs to be with Ellie. Ellie needs to learn that it's okay, that even she's been violent before. She's hurt someone before, right? She fought that girl in the gym or whatever, but like, and she's been told it's wrong. Don't raise your hands. Don't step out of line. All this shit. Like, she needs to see that it's okay that you do this when you need to do this. You don't take that shit.
No,
right? You don't allow yourself to be eaten by cannibals. You chop their fucking heads into little pieces.
I hear
and
you.
She doesn't get that it's
no,
okay.
They have
this is how you do it.
they have a different dynamic. Someone said get a recap. I don't know. There's nothing necessarily to recap, and we'll see. Maybe so. Jackie said they could have just lied to Joel. Lie would have worked in a moment. Something different than what they fucking did. Fernandez T didn't like the series overall. Don't know exactly why. Just another day, another dog.
Watch our recap and you'll find out all the reasons why you didn't like it.
Listen to Joe in episode 8. I think you'll hear it. Anyways, let's listen to the rest of the voice at 916.
In I don't remember what city, but during the possibility of her being operated on and Joel taking her away. So they're looking at this.
I think they were in Oregon, but I'm not sure.
Same things. It's parallel. What Ellie does and what Ellie has an opportunity to do that Joel didn't have the opportunity to do in the end was to look forward to the future. And how would that be? How would she choose to live in the future? At least that's what I got out of it. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye-bye.
No, thank you, as always, for the great voicemails. We really do appreciate it. Jackie says, I would have lied to Joel and then gone Goodfellas on him. He never would have seen it coming. I mean, basically, that's how you have to deal with. If Joel is the person that Joe is saying, and from the way Marlene was talking about him and talking to him, and even within the Joel we saw on the TV show up until that point and the way they had been talking about him, then absolutely they needed to kill him if they were going to do that to Ellie.
Once they dragged Ellie and Joel's knocked out bodies, our sorry dad makes a statement here I want to get to too. Once they drag their bodies away and Marlene sees it's Joel, it's Ellie, the first words out of her mouth should have been put a bullet in his head.
Yeah, whack him. As
Shep
Pam said, whack
him right now. Or she should have just pulled out a gun and done it herself and been like, get her up to the lab.
Yep.
That's it. Joel did what he was supposed to do, and that's it, right? Like,
done.
You know who that man is. You know if there's any chance, if there's any chance that this is going to work, or you have to, like, he's just going to be a hindrance for you and Ellie at that point on. And you can tell Ellie anything you want about how Joel died, right?
Yep. He never made it.
She gets knocked out. She never sees neither of them see that as firefighters.
But you're never going to have to, because she's never going to wake up.
Right.
What do you need to tell her? Shit, she's going to be dead. You don't have to tell the dead girl crap. The dead girl is on the table, and by the time, at that point in time, when she wakes Joel up, the doctor's already getting ready, preparing her for surgery. Like, if Marlene had waited literally 45 minutes later, Ellie, it would have been too late. It wouldn't have mattered. Right. I mean, ultimately, Joel still would have killed them all if she wasn't smart enough to, like, leave and keep him tied up or kill him, because he would have hunted them down and murdered them eventually at some point. But so really her only recourse is to whack them, as Jackie was saying. Go Goodfellas on him. Go while you have him. You should have killed me when you had the chance. Like, make sure the person is freaking dead, or it's going to be the dude from Die Hard that's going to show up when you least expect it in the last moment, and you might not have Lieutenant Powell behind you to take the shot. I think it's folly for not killing him, and I think it's the biggest. Yep. The biggest. There's a lot in a lot of holes. It's a Dr. Evil level villain mistake, or the Batman villains from the Cesar Romero Adam West Batman. It's just, we need to keep the villain alive so that they can truly understand our evil plan. It's true.
And that's exactly what, and that's again exactly what happens. Marlene comes out and gives the speech about her big evil plan, and then says, "Now leave, Joel."
Yeah, and again, takes him out. This guy that she knows can go all Jack Bauer on people. She's completely familiar with the fact that this guy can go crazy and kill.
How capable he is.
And she sends him out with two guards, not tied up and bound, to go to again bring him out to the street and spin around. Joel has you said he has a smile on his face. He does. The moment he sees what he's left with, he's like, oh, this is gonna be easy. It's like Bruce Lee looking at Five Guys. He's like, I'm gonna this will be very easy, and he just and just destroys them. It's not even difficult. Again, it was a very Jack Bauer, Jason Bourne kind of scene where you're just like, he's looking around, or Daredevil even in the hallway, and you're just like, how's he gonna get out? But it's not even that, like, it's not that overwhelming. It was just, oh, he's got one dude. He's got these two dudes he needs to overwhelm. This is gonna be easy for him. And then once he has the gun, it's done. And I enjoyed watching that section. That was, again, like the end of a season of 24 when Rick goes full on. But it's what we should have seen from what I ascertained from what Joe was saying. We should have felt this way about Joel the whole season, not just in this scene. It should have felt like this was just more of Joel being Joel, not he's finally reached his breaking point and bringing back the old him. No, he's always this guy to survive in this world, and he never dropped it.
Yep.
Undead Caesar says, I could have taken those two guards out, and I can't whip cream. Me neither.
Atari Dad here says, he brings up the fact that in the show, the Fireflies knock Ellie out and they knock Joel out. They knock them both out, right? Well, this stranger is walking through the area. It's better than just shooting at them and killing them, knocking them out. But in the game, the difference being Ellie's in the middle of dying because she drowned, and Joel's trying to give her, CPR, Heimlich, get the water out of her lungs and shit. And they stop him from doing that, knock him out.
Yep.
And at that point in the game, they could have easily just been like, yeah, sorry. When he wakes up, sorry, she didn't make it.
Yeah, she didn't make it. She didn't make it. And then, I don't believe you. No, what? She didn't make it. See you later. Now
I need to see the body. Not right now. No.
No, we're harvesting the body for what we can survive, right? What we can get out of it right now. Goodbye, Joel. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, and Carol. Rick Grimes, Negan, Maggie, Carol, Shane when he was alive, they would all roast Joel without even thinking twice. We cannot keep this motherfucker alive. That being said, they all left Negan alive in that fucking cell.
No, and they took the prisoner at the farm and kept that guy tied up.
Yeah, but Negan's the worst one. They're like, I'm keeping you alive.
And then they I'm keeping Negan you alive for 5 years. Come on,
I'm keeping you alive because I want to leave the show someday, and we need a big name actor to stay. And Daryl's just not going to cut it. Sorry, Walking David, that's horrible. That was my horrible. I am not the Walking David. The Walking David signs off on this entire fucking broadcast. Steph Snow leaves us. Actually, no, we got a quick message from our good buddy. Let's see what you got to say, dude. Quick question.
Quick question. How did you know about Season 2 of the game? Did you play it, or did Joe tell you about it?
Column A and column B, or I never played it, so I guess just column A. Joe told me about it / I researched it. Joe told me about it back when did this game come out? 2017, 16?
No, like 20.
Oh, 2020. So a couple of years ago, yeah, definitely.
19, I think.
2019. I definitely. It was just talked about so much. I have a lot of video game circles that I run, and it's just it was conversational. No one. I feel like unlike movies and TV, spoilers in video games, people don't hold back that much. They're like, oh, did you see this shit? Like, you got to play this. You got to see what happens in this game. So I don't think, and no one held back that information for me. I can't think of too many video game.
There was so much derisive talk about the game.
It was just out there
and
everywhere.
It was rating bombed, and there was so much so many articles about that in general that it was hard to, if you're a game enthusiast, it was hard to avoid seeing those article headlines and then reading it, and making up your own mind about what you're reading, whether or not it's even worth a news article to begin with. But
Fandom
it was hard to avoid themes of the game, moments of the game, characters from the game in these articles.
Joe,
So.
and with the Game of the Year's discussions and all that, like it was really tough to avoid.
Right, and you want to know why it's Game of the Year? Well, a lot of it had to do with the mechanics, and a lot of it had to do with the accessibility options and things that weren't available in a lot of
And the
games.
legacy from the first game, the improvement of just the gameplay aspects of that stuff,
Yep.
and judging it on that end as well. And being a divisive story is a talent onto itself in that way to make you second guess that. And I think, I'm not sure what it was up against. It was probably due in that year as well. We got a super chat donation. By the way, Phil, what do you think of the musical ending? And Phantom Descent says, I thought it was February 2020. Joel's death shocked me, but I was glued to my screen, says Jackie. From Luna, amazing. Thank you so much for being a channel member and helping us with the support and giving us a super chat donation. Incredible. Let me toast my my Mick Ultra to you. Toast to you. Can you discuss the similarities and differences in attitudes on how to survive? Choices made specifically by Tess, Bill, Abby, Tommy, Marlene, and Joel, Firefly's Fedra, and Tommy's community. So Joe, what are some of the similarities and the attitudes that you need to survive in this world? You don't need to be bloodthirsty like Joel and like some of these other folks, but I guess you do. I mean, Bill was to himself, but if people came near his place, he would make sure they got murdered. But he was flexible to some people. So can you discuss, Joe, the similarities and differences in attitudes on how to survive? Choices made specifically by Tess.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different ways people are going to choose to survive in whatever type of apocalypse and doomsday scenario that we're involved in, right? There are going to be countless amounts of people who are, I just want to, live in the gated community that, everybody else does what they do, and I'm going to sweep the floors for them because I'm safe. There's going to be countless people who want to be like Bill. There's already countless people like Bill in this world trying to survive with their little bunkers and survival shit like Bill was doing before the fall, right? So as far as like the individual characters go, there's not too much you can talk about in their attitudes. I mean, Luna, how are you going to survive is more the question, right? Like, Bill's got that answer already about how he's going to survive. Me, I know how I would survive. So that's a little bit more interesting to me than necessarily that they're just showing us the 4 or 5 different like individuals, and then they got on the other part of this comment the Fireflies, Fedra, Tommy's community. Then you got in game 2 the WLF, and then you also, which is very Fedra-like, more so than Tommy's community. Then you also have the Seraphim community, which is a huge fucking cult.
And they're more like a religious cult. And
a religious cult. So you end up with even more of a new world view in how the governments of larger communities are going to be run. And it becomes again question, Luna, which one are you going to fight to run to? Which one are you going to fight to be a part of? Are you going to be the Bill and or old couple up there in the cabin serving soup to Joel and Ellie?
That's probably where I'm going to be.
Or are you going to be someone that God did this to us all, and I'm going to go join the Seraphims because that's the only religion around right now, and otherwise they'll cut my fucking hands off? Are you going to join the WLF who fought against Fedra, which is like a Kathleen kind of deal?
Yeah,
or a Firefly kind of deal.
Yeah, essentially the spiritual successor to the Fireflies. And Fandom says no, it was June, not February. Peggy says Marlene thought Joel deserved to know the plan because he traveled cross country with Ellie, but she could have waited to tell him the plan until after Ellie was dead. I guess that's the only thing I'm saying. And I do want to read. I guess I cut off Atari Dad's question because I thought it was a joke. I started to think like Scrubs or Buffy. By the way, Phil, what did you think of the musical alternative ending? Joe, is there a musical alternative ending to the game?
To the show?
To the show. Was there? I don't know if I've seen it. Yes, it was in that video I tweeted the other day. Oh,
okay. Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
During the clip.
Yes, I did like that.
When they
Yes.
were filming, it wasn't actually game footage, but it was behind the scene footage while the original
great.
actors for the game were wearing their mocap suits, and
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Tess, no, was it Tess or Marlene? It was
I think
Marlene
it was
and
Marlene,
Joel
yeah.
started singing for the final scene about, you know what? They were having fun, and it was a fun thing to do for the cast.
It
and
was
shit,
cute.
But, I'd rather see the bloopers than like intentional weird shit like that.
Right, it seems a little too stagey for you, Joe. A little too stagey.
A little too stagey. Like it was. Like the director took them aside and was like, "I want you both to do this," and then they both went out and did it. And like, don't stop, no matter what you do. Just do the whole scene like this, and just keep going until I say cut. Improvise the whole thing, and they just sang their lines and some other shit to each other.
Joe, the wheel.
But yeah, no, it was cute. Thank you for sending that. It was fun, but
the wheel of super chat from Luna landed on. Now you use your anger here, Joe. Use your anger, as Joe hurt himself, I believe, and he's giving us a
fucking cramp, a hammy.
Full front.
Sit down, my fucking hammy just went. Oh,
that's how you know we're getting old. You're getting a hammy doing a podcast.
I can't even sit without pulling something.
But Luna, it landed on the wheel. Joe do an impression, and we've got an interesting thing that happened in the live chat here. Where John Haymaker says the WLF sounds like a wrestling association. So yeah. Joe, give us a little wrestling promo for the WLF.
Ooh yeah. That's it.
That's it. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Woo! Yeah.
It's like WLF.
You got to beat the man to be the man. Woo! There you go. There's a little wrestling stuff. Snap into it.
A little Ric Flair.
Woo! No, I thought Joe stubbed his toe as well. No, he just got a hammy from podcasting. Yeah, he got a podcasting.
A desk hammy.
Yeah, that's why we need to get, as we get older, Joe, if we want to keep doing this, we both got to get standing desks.
Oh, fuck that.
Imagine doing like the 4 hours we did the other night, standing up the whole fucking time.
No way.
That'd be bad.
The worst job I ever had was standing at the, like, as a bagger, bagging groceries, just standing in that spot for like the 6 hours.
Yeah, the single spot. Yeah.
Fuck no.
Yeah,
like,
I'd rather be doing a lot of physical labor. I preferred, like, I had jobs like that too where I'm just in that. I'd prefer like working in a warehouse and loading pallets onto the back of a truck because you're physically doing something the whole time.
Yep. Walking or moving.
It almost hurts your legs more just to stand still.
And lower back. Yep.
Like
it killed me.
Yeah, no, I definitely hear you on that one. Finally, Joel has come back to Boston. Joe, did you ever find that sandwich that night that you lost during one of the streams? You lost it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was actually thinking of a real sandwich there. Okay, anyways, let's Steph Snow left us another voicemail. If you want to call on in, 781-990-8509. Feel free to call in any question, any comment. We'll be on here for another half an hour or so, as I know Joe needs to go pick up the crow soon. So we'll do about 2 hours here on these spoiler casts, because there's a lot to talk about. And as I said, this won't be the only off-season Last of Us show that we do.
Okay, we haven't even done a lot of spoiling for
right. That's what I'm saying.
So much we haven't even gotten into about Seattle.
I wanted tonight to be more about the main transition about how they're going to approach season 2 with one of the main characters having to kill the most popular guy in television right now.
Right.
You know, and that's a lot. It's a lot. Tony was saying that he's 100% right. It's a lot to expect that the guy that is literally the most popular dude in television is going to get beat to death in 2024 with a club from a character that's just introduced, and then is going to be in a sense forced upon us as equal main character to Ellie if they choose to do it in that fashion, and that's a lot.
I gotta say though too, how many people?
I'm not saying it's bad, but it's a lot.
How many people? Like, I didn't read any of the books of Game of Thrones. Sorry to say, I didn't even know it was books until after season 1 aired. But
you read the books before we did. Oh yeah, because you read it after season 1. Yeah.
Right, but like, dude, it can be done. Like, it was a surprise to a lot. Anybody who didn't read the books was like, "What the fuck?"
No, it can be
no
done,
big deal.
but
It's no big deal.
But
Do
Joe,
it.
it's
Just
not
fucking
like
do it.
fair enough, but it's not like there were two. It's not like the only two characters in the show were Ned and Arya, and then Ned dies, and suddenly not Marin Trent, Podrick Payne's father, what do you call it? Ellen Payne is the main character of the show, or Joffrey becomes the lead character that you're supposed to
That's why
relate
it
to.
works so well if you just tell season 2 as Abby.
You have
Just tell season 2 as Abby.
You have
season
to.
3, you come back and at the end of season 2, Abby murders the motherfucker. Maybe they don't even mention that it's like the name of the guy. They just talk about the guy that killed her dad.
Right, Joe, that's the best way to do it. You just said it. Like if they and they don't even have, they can even do it in one season to a certain extent. That if they just extend the time at the beginning of the season, we start, Joe, you set this up and I'm going to go with it. You set up the season where you start at the hospital. You have Ellie and Joel leaving the hospital. You see them go stay in Jackson. You reiterate the lie. Then you fade to...
Yeah, right there, before they get into Jackson, right there. Reiterate all the way up to the point where, tell me the truth, Joel.
Exactly. And then you reiterate the lie, make sure you do it. Then you fade 4 years later or whatever, or 4 months. Is it 4 years? Yeah, 4 years later. Maybe you touch in with Ellie and Joel for a second, but then you transition to another group and you go back to that hospital, and then you go right into Abby's perspective at that point.
And never go back to Ellie and Joel until Joel fucking gets his head beat.
Or do you go further back to actually see Abby's relationship with her father? And
you go further back.
So
because they do give you stuff before when she's like 11.
So then,
or
after
than
after they're settled, you go 4 years. You flash over to 3 months prior. Whatever you say, but once they settle.
No, this is what I think. You just stop right there, right at the promise, at the swear to me, you're telling me the truth shit, right? Then you go to black with your little.
And then you have to say 1 year.
Or
you have to say 1 year earlier or something at that point.
No, you just go back. You don't even have to say whatever. If they want to, whatever you say, fucking 6 years ago. Right? And you go right into fucking Abby playing with her dad at the zoo, collecting quarters, state quarters, and
you
shit.
follow her until midway through the season where she discovers her dead father's body, and you put it all together that the person...
No, not even episode 2. Like, you don't have too much time of them as her as that young, but like you can get a good grasp of her and her dad in one episode for the rest of that first episode. Episode 2 is their perspective at the hospital, because there's some flashback shit that goes on about that, right? And so you get that out of the way. And episode 3 is, episode 2 is the hospital and what Joel does, and episode 3 is then forward now
with Joel and
4 years,
with Joel and Tommy out on the ground. We see Ellie in the modern time. We see that Joel and Ellie are a little estranged, but they do have a dynamic that they're still moderately close.
No, you still keep them out of it. You got to bring them in. Forward 4 years. No, you don't have to bring them back yet. That's what I'm saying.
But and what I'm telling you is they're not going to do that. They're not going to keep Ellie and Joel out of half the season. They're just not going to do it. They're I agree with you. This is one of those things.
Maybe more. Maybe none of the season, Phil, is what I'm saying.
Joe, I have it on the screen right now. You can see it. Joe is always right. I want to make it clear what I'm saying. I 100% agree with you. I think that's the only way you do it to make it not impossible to care about Abby. And this is, for me anyways. But they're not doing it that way.
No, they probably won't. But you keep Abby, you keep Ellie, and you keep Joel out of the season 2 almost entirely. And like first episode and last episode, and Joel gets whacked, right? And you come back for season 3, and now you got season 3. Ellie is gonna hunt that motherfucker down.
Yeah,
and kill that bitch.
I think season 2 ends with Ellie losing and going back to and walking away with her, like getting defeated and not getting killed by Abby in the first fight. I think that's a good way of ending the season. And then
that's a little bit too far ahead.
You think it's a little too far ahead? So you think season 3, there's two big fights?
Two big fights is both Rocky 1 and 2.
Cool. Okay. So
Season 3 is Rocky 1 and 2.
in
Because
fairness,
you have a lot in there.
to,
You have a lot in there with the Seraphins.
Joe, in fairness,
we're missing Lev and Lev's whole story and her sister.
Joe, it's
And
more like
they go through.
it's
There's
more
a
like
lot
Rocky
there to
4
unpack.
because Ellie really gets her ass kicked in that first fight, from what I was
That
watching.
we keep brushing over the Seraphins. Got to tell you, there's some good shit there. Like, and one of the reasons I think again they changed up David a little bit to be culty because they want to show you again this is a different cult. See how
Right.
this cult ate people, but this cult loves people, but it's still evil.
But it's still a weird.
See?
It's still
But,
a weird cult. So
it's still a weird cult, right? So like, but like they're getting off on this, and like Kathleen's revenge versus Abby's revenge versus Ellie's revenge. Like they're really getting off on this. Like, let's show all the different motivations for these things and how you can come to show that with the right motivations, even you're okay with what you're going to be doing.
now,
What you're going to see.
Ryrie says, "I love the Abby and the Lev story," so I guess the big question is, what you're saying is you want them to, as somebody, Luna says, the time jumps are jarring in the game, and I think they'd be even more jarring in the show, and the flashback. I don't want to see something where they're cutting back episode within one episode between Abby and Ellie as main characters. I don't think that would work quite as well.
Okay, so
as full episodes based around from perspectives of the characters. I don't know. What do you think?
I just watched season 1 of Invasion on Apple Plus, right? And that
another Apple Plus show
very much does, I think, what The Last of Us was trying to do, which was really flesh out these character stories with leaving the alien shit as secondary. It did a good job at telling 4 different stories at the same time, and still maintaining this threat of these alien creatures, right?
Yep.
This is what The Last of Us really was trying to fucking do with this season, and I think they kind of failed.
They didn't do it quite as well as you wanted.
They didn't as well as I wanted, or even as Invasion had done it.
Joe.
Now, hold on.
Okay.
The way, and it made me think about World War Z and the movie versus the book. And how could you do that book? And you would have to do the book. You'd take 5 fucking stories from the book and make them each 2 episodes long and just tell those 5. And don't go back and forth between them. Just give them each 2 full fucking episodes and move the fuck on. Right? Like those stories, those character focus episodes that The Walking Dead did, how it would just be one character that we're focused on all of a sudden. Or like, I want to see that. Let's do that with a whole fucking season. That really does work. And it's not going to remove how you feel about Joel and Ellie, but it's going to do something for how you feel about Abby.
And that's going to be the most important and the hardest thing to handle, because we have a couple questions in the live chat I want to get to. Big E says, and this is the elephant in the room, you kill Joel in episode 1 of season 2 and the ratings drop off a cliff. Do ratings drop off a cliff once Pedro's dead?
I think they not necessarily. It depends. Like, dude, ratings went through the roof when Ned gets his head cut off.
Or when the
right?
Red Wedding happened, really, is when the.
Or when the Red Wedding, like, you kill characters right for the right reasons and at the right times, and not try to make it a Walking Dead like, which character will die when we come back
on the next Batman. Yeah, exactly, Joe. And I do want to jump over to, before it goes past, to what Luna asked us. Joe, or I'll ask Joe because you know the source material better than I. How many seasons do you think would be perfect for The Last of Us? Do you think they should go past the source material at all?
yeah, I don't see why not. I would actually love to see them go past the source material. I would love to see them show us things from other places and
But
other.
I'll ask you a caveat to that question while you're answering. Would you prefer that or the third game, or wait for the third game and then see the third game dictated onto
One
screen?
of the things that I thought was I didn't need Joel and Ellie story at all for game two.
You would have been fine with Abby being the only character, and
I would have been
Ellie was an
fine
adversary.
if it was no, if it was just uh, if Ellie and Joel weren't in it, and it was an Abby and Lev adventure, and it had nothing to do with
And at the
Ellie and Joel's story was told.
oh, and,
Like,
and it never Joel never killed her father, and it was just an
or
Abby
or
story in
maybe
that world.
maybe she does. Maybe that's the maybe that's the connection to tell us this other person's story. This Joel touched this life.
Or maybe
This
that
life's changed because of Joel, and we're going to show you that. Maybe game 3 is somewhere along the line that in Levin and Abby's journey, they did something or something happened that we get a game 3 about some other complete story, which is very much, again, that's very much World War Z, right? Like that's the vignette feeling, these are the different stories of different people and how they survived the apocalypse some years later as being interviewed by the Brad Pitt character.
now Sonic says everyone will be back. Flashbacks of Joel will be back in flashbacks even if he dies. Ratings won't drop up. Great to see the Daywalker Morello. Yeah, we could see Saved by the Bell. I mean, The Last of Us, the college years. On Game Miller says I love Joel. The Last of Us Last of Us Part 3, The Search for More Money. Are they doing a Game 3? They've been hinting that they are doing a Game 3. Obviously, both main characters are left alive at the end of the second game. Abby.
Wait, by main characters, he means Abby, Ellie, Lev.
I mean Abby and Ellie, like the two main protagonists from the game that you play as in the game are both still alive.
Tommy's still alive.
And Tommy's surprisingly alive.
So they're supposedly making a standalone multiplayer game,
but
that's probably going to be very much like a Warzone DMZ. Call of Duty, Modern Warfare.
But
DMZ
they're also working.
I figure it'll probably be like a massive map with walkers, clickers, and bloaters everywhere.
But it's a 2.5 stall to
a mix of that with
to wait for the game. The game is coming. Like I would be ridiculously surprised if Last of Us Part 3 doesn't someday show up. It's that they're not abandoning this franchise.
And that's not supposed to be Part 3. That's supposed to be part like faction.
No, I'm saying that's what I'm saying. It's like aside from that,
there'll probably be a Part 3.
There's a Part 3. It took how many billion years for? Sorry, I know Fandom D Saints in the chat. How long did it take for? How long did it take for Kingdom Hearts 3 to finally come? But everyone knew it was coming eventually. Last of Us 3 is coming eventually. It's just a matter of when.
It took 10 years to get Part 2.
Right, exactly. And it might take another 10 years. We're still waiting on the next Grand Theft Auto game, but we all know it's coming. We all know certain games are coming. Everyone knows even though we know when the next one's coming. But even if there's no Zelda announcement, another Zelda's coming at some freaking point. There's certain games, franchises, once they reach a point of success, that it would be crazy surprising if there's not another game, if Naughty Dog doesn't do another Last of Us, even if they do and I don't mean reboot like the Ellie and Joel story, just a completely unique story set in a different time within this universe. We will see Last of Us games for a long time.
Yeah.
Sorry, fandom. I didn't mean to trigger you by mentioning Kingdom Hearts 3, but it's similar. Like when there's certain franchises, you just know that third one's coming eventually. You know that. And Joe, as a fan of the series, you'd be ridiculously surprised if you don't get it, right? You're expecting it at some point, correct?
Yes.
The Last of Us 3, The Last of Us.
Hell, I'd be surprised if they don't put out another Uncharted. They're all franchises that haven't died yet.
Yeah, no, as long as the games are still fun.
Franchises are making money. If you can come out with more material, like always say it's going to be the last, because that is also going to increase sales, right? And then be like, well, we just thought there might be more we could flesh out in the story and in the character, So we gave them that.
They can
And
always
we got another one.
Yeah, they can always find some crap to make a story about in a video game. Because and I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying video games will happen. It's inevitable. Free Wrench, great to see Free Wrench in the live chat. Great to see all you guys. And Undead Caesar says The Last of Us Part 3, the Force Ghost of Joel returns as a Mandalorian, of course. We got a text message from area code 859 that says, don't you think that Joe's way too good at cutting Joel out in the beginning will take away from his death? Oh, so don't you think that Joe's way is good, but cutting Joel out in the beginning will take away from his death?
So it's possible. It's possible that you remove the audience too much from remembering how they felt about Joel and Ellie. But I don't think you'll do that necessarily by doing this, because I don't know. That's a good question, but I don't think so. I think enough people. It's still fucking Pedro Pascal, dude.
Yeah,
it's still Pedro Pascal's face. You got to see get beat in.
Yeah, and will they will they Last of Us season 1 us with that, or are we gonna they're actually gonna graphically show us like are they gonna mountain him, or is this the second time we're gonna see Pedro get his head bashed in on our screen visually? I think I'm thinking that they're gonna go all in with the graphicness in season 2. They're gonna up that a great deal, because again, if they cut away from that, it's going to take away from it. I just don't want to see one of those things where, and we will rewind this if this ends up being it. So we only focus on Ellie's face. We see the first swing, and then they cut to Ellie's face and see her horrified watching it. And with seeing the rage build in her eyes as she's watching what's happening, and she's not getting sad, she's just getting, I'm going to fucking kill this motherfucker for what's happening right here. And that's what we see, not actually him being beat. Because that's
the way the show does it.
Because that's what they've done so far, Joe. And our last point here, Joe, is you talked about a lot of over-utopian thoughts on how you want this second game. With broad strokes, we'll get more into this religious group again later, and obviously I do want to do something on why people hate hate season 2. But coming off season 1, this production team, this writing team, everything, how do you think, not hope, they're going to approach this season? And are you confident that they're going to do it justice, or are you worried? Are you concerned? Are you scared a little bit here, Joe?
They're not going to do they're not going to. Okay, here's the thing. They're not going to do it justice. They're not going to. They already failed in living up to what I was expecting for the first season. I do not believe these two are going to be able to improve upon what the game gave us, second game gave us, and I do not think they will be able to tell as compelling of a story without the amount of violence that is in it. And like, they took all the tension away from season 1 and reasoning for the cure by removing what the threat to humanity is, and trying to play that like we're the Walking Dead game.
They tried to sell it on Outbreak Day and that one big scene, and thought that was enough to show you everything.
And whatever clips they like, straight up hijacked fucking scenes they took straight from the fucking game, and they thought that would be enough to tell this story. And they needed the violence. They needed the walkers and the clickers and the runners and the bloaters. They needed it. Without it, it really took a lot away from everything. Sure. Everything that I mentioned. It really does. It takes away the tension. It takes away the need for the cure. It takes away the drive that they would want to even, go there for the cure.
Joe, we got a super chat donation with just simple. Joe is absolutely
Tracy
correct.
G. Yeah, they're not going to do season 2 well at all, Tracy. At all. They're not going to be able to come close to the game. They're not going to be able to hold up to the game. It's almost going to be futile. I wouldn't expect many reviews to be favorable.
Right, that's what I'm saying is like
mouth.
if they go out and kill Joel in episode 1 or 2 in the season, and Abby, they cast Abby badly. They cast her as a bigger name star, not necessarily based around like the proper character. They just try to do some stunt casting of some sort. Like this could go bad fast, right? Is what you're saying? Is you're fearing that this could go in a bad direction. So Sophia Turner's playing Abby or something.
Right, like let's cast the Sand Snakes as like
someone just said the Sand Snakes seek their
revenge.
revenge.
That's what I'm seeing. That right, like none of them were believable badasses. None of them. But like here we are, and like they're badasses. Okay.
Shorty, the Jersey princess is in here. You guys are still complaining.
Dude, what else is there, man? Like, what else is there?
Luna says we should.
At least we have you guys to listen
and have some fun.
Nobody else wants to hear my bullshit. Katie certainly doesn't. That's why she goes to work when I do this.
Exactly. She couldn't be more happy that you're doing this early tonight. We should have been on the edge of our seats during this show. Not enough battles with the infected. I don't know how I feel about this Abby chick, says Eric. Oh, hell no. Joe is absolutely correct. The Sand Snakes will get their revenge. Jackie Dracarys bitch says, I laughed hysterically when I saw a 500-year-old woman, a 500-year-old wooden ships flying and staying together. Franchises developed into TV shows have a built-in audience, says Luna. Plus, everyone else will want to see what the hype is about. It's all about the money. All about the money. Joel dying is going to be tough. It's going to be a tough sell. And next season may not be as hinting in Joe, may not be as fart smelling for the critics and some of the vibes as season 1 was, especially with killing Pedro. But that being said, Joe, I think with Abby, a lot of it does come down to the casting. They need to get this casting right. They need to make this be a character that people can relate to. And I think in a game, you don't have a choice. It doesn't matter if you relate to her or not. That's why she can have certain personality traits or look a certain way. And like if you're introducing a character in this show, and that's to your point about having several episodes or enough time with her before we see her do the thing, not be introduced to her doing the thing. The problem would become is that the first time we really see Abby, I'm not saying a scene, but the first time we really see Abby is when Joel and Tommy are rescuing her. If that's the first time, that's a problem. We need to know her a little bit
before that
and care about her, and she needs to be a captivating character. You need to give a fuck about her. And that's going to be the toughest challenge for next season. Not having to deal with Pedro being gone, it's having to get Abby to be likable. And you don't need that in the game. You don't need to have Abby be likable in the game. You need to have her be likable on a fucking TV show, in my mind.
Right. Well, if you do it that way, right? Say you just ignore anything, you just have Abby show up and you do it exactly like the game, and then go straight into Ellie going across country and getting there to go kill her.
Could you and on that note, Joe, could you just have Abby be an antagonist and not make her a character, not make her a focus character, and just frame it all from Ellie? That's the other thing that they could do. Not give you the duality of the story to a certain extent, other than just having her be a sympathetic villain in the way that Kingpin can be with Daredevil, where you can relate to what he went through, but ultimately he's still a horrifying person. Could they go that route with Abby too, and make Ellie just the hero and make it more standard?
No, because then you're forgetting about there's a whole other area of this story again, Phil, and that's Lev and her sister and his sister.
Yep.
And
that's the stuff I don't know about.
And the whole struggle with the WLF and all the people there pulling and tugging at Abby's group. And you have to play as Abby. That's one of the things that makes that game that when that happens and when you have to end up switching, when you know, like, oh, I've already played as Abby, I'm going to have to play as her again, obviously. Like,
I can't
you
believe
don't
I have to go
realize
back
how
to
much
her.
you're getting into.
Yeah.
You have a lot of story being fleshed out and being told to you.
So to your point, in a television series, the way you need to do that is establish her first big time. You need to have episode 1 essentially. They could even do it in one episode. Episode 1 is an Abby backstory episode, and the end of that episode could be her discovering her father at the hospital. And then episode 2
and then right, fuck, dude. Episode 1 starts 4 years ago, right? 4 years before this, and it's just her and her dad at whatever zoo running tests on animals
at Denny's
or whatever,
no.
and like collecting their quarters and walking around and talking about they're going somewhere else with the Firefly group they're with, right? And then into like the hospital days right after that, and like ending that first or second episode with our scene of Joel massacring everybody and leaving that hospital.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you could do it that way and then get into the way it plays from the game and just take some of those flashback scenes and play them right now at the beginning.
Yeah,
that's the way you could get about it, because there's going to be a lot of sympathy for the 11-year-old girl and her great relationship she has with her father, and how they collect coins, and he's teaching her all this kind of science, and she's really into it, and she's into that kind of stuff. And then this shit happens at the hospital, and her fucking life is completely fucking changed. Now she's a fucking orphan. She's not the child of a fucking doctor, right? That's a big gonna. You have a certain kind of life,
especially in this
when
world.
You're the child, exactly. When you're the child of a doctor in this world, than when you're a fucking orphan girl in this world.
Eric,
right? Like, there's going to be a big difference between your status. Like, there's a big change, and you're going to have sympathy, and you're going to build that in character moments. And you have to kind of get that in real quick at the beginning of the season.
Now, we got about 10 minutes left here. So if you want to get any last-minute voicemails or calls, now's the time. 781-990-8509. We're going to start to wrap this up. Let's get into the live chat.
And here's the thing. Everybody should Google the number to HBO and give them a call and tell them to watch this episode and
listen to Joe.
Previous season. Not just me, but you and us,
and David,
for ideas on how to improve upon their production
and cast The Walking David. Okay,
be nice about it too, please.
We need Abby to have like CG She-Hulk arms. We got Jasmine Breaking Bad in the live chat. MC says The Last of Us Part 3 will likely arrive towards the end of the PlayStation 5 cycle. I agree with that, probably. They will probably likely cast someone from another HBO show as Abby. HBO likes doing that. They do like doing that.
They all like doing. Networks have always done that. Movie houses always do that.
Yeah, it's because they don't have to audition, because it's the same casting directors that work at the same network.
And they have multi-series, multi-movie contracts. Like, if I do this, if I commit to this for you, you have to give me another role within a year or two, either in a major movie or another major series.
Joe, do you have any?
I'm going to give up a large segment of my career for this project.
Joe, do you have anyone in mind?
Write those kind of contracts.
Do you have anyone in mind, thinking right off the bat, for casting for Abby?
God, no. I've been racking my brain, but I will say this: I click on the bait, and I look at those little fucking flash articles of people have been saying this one and this one and this one. I've heard
Florence Pugh. How do you feel about what's her name from
any of them? None of the names that I have heard so far, and maybe you're about to say one that I haven't heard, but none of the names I have heard mentioned so far at all. And there was one that was like Captain fucking Marvel. What? Brie Larson?
No,
are you fucking kidding me?
She's too old. Not that she looks, but she's a little too old. How about what's her name from? What's her name from Ozark?
The blonde chick?
Yeah.
No, she's tiny. Is she gonna she need to bulk up. She need to seriously hit the fucking protein powder, because that tiny shit ain't gonna fucking
I think
fly.
her personality
That's going
could
in
work.
the complete opposite direction.
Her personality could work. She could play big, like Joe Pesci in Goodfellas. Playing big.
And that's not the personality that Abby has either. that's not even close to
Yeah,
Abby's personality.
Ruth, yeah.
Abby's personality. Think soldier.
Do you know
like Abby's personality.
Do you know
type.
Florence Pugh? I can't think of things she's been in, but she's an actress.
Or is more so her type.
Actresses have Florence Pugh, I believe her name is. That's what
I saw the picture of her. She's one of the ones names I saw floated. I don't know what she's been in or who she is, and no, I don't think she could do it.
I don't know
None
her.
of them have the arms. They're gonna have to put on prosthetic arms. I'm telling you.
You got to give up. Thing. They're not going to do the arms.
They got to.
No, they're
big thing. It's a big thing, and they won't. You're right. They won't.
They're going to go big.
Won't, You're right. They won't.
You saw how big Tom Hardy got in the third Batman. They didn't do the big, crazy, ridiculous Bane arms. They're going to go like that for Abby. They're going to be like big. She's going to be in really great shape, but they're not going to be like the 24-inch pythons, brother. She's not going to have the 24-inch pythons. She's not going to have the Hulk Hogan N64.
Why not? Why not? Those people exist. They are out there. They're looking for work. They want the job. They're capable of the job.
They're gonna want to hire a named actress, I think. Unfortunately,
instead of doing the right thing. Yep.
I don't disagree with you.
I got an idea. Sandy Newton's kid needs a job.
No, she already was in the show.
Oh.
She played Sarah.
No shit, I know.
She played Sarah, Joe. Come on.
That's my point. Like, why not just recast her though?
Jasmine.
Because like she's really pretty. I know she doesn't have the arms, but hey, maybe people will forget that it was her as Sarah. Cause it's been a few years.
Bring back Sophia Turner, bulk her up. Bring back Maisie Williams, bulk her up. We're looking to.
Hey, your dude did it. Raising Hope did it, and Tombstone.
Oh, but he's
whatever that fucking.
Yeah, he can do. But I'm saying like people have pulled stuff like that off where you're like, how can that guy play that menacing character?
Origin shit. Yeah.
But I mean, it's tough. I mean, I think in this situation, I don't disagree with you, Joe. I just don't think. Okay, so when you're casting this role, Joe's sitting on the casting couch, and I don't mean this in a dirty way. I mean, Joe, you're sitting on the casting couch casting this part. Are you basing it on look first or someone's read on it and then making them get in shape?
I'm looking... No, because you are not going to get what you need to get.
CG.
The first thing,
you're going to add some CG arms. Natalie Portman in Thor.
Just put her in long sleeves.
Yeah, you saw Natalie Portman in Thor. They pulled it off, right?
No. I'm saying what you need to do is you get yourself, if she cannot curl fucking a 40-pound curl 10 times, nope. I don't want it.
Right in the casting, beyond acting, you're making them do like a curl test.
I'm not talking about a bar either. I'm talking about a bell. She needs to be able to do 40-pound bells.
So you're
each arm. Fuck it, 45-pound bells.
So Joe's casting call is going to have
45-pound bell hammers for a minute straight. She can do that. She's fucking casted.
Do they have to
train her how to act. You cannot go the other way in this.
Do they have to do a biathlon for you too, Joe?
Hey, I want her to have the arms. I want her to be that kind of.
So
fit. I want her to have that kind of. I have taken this revenge.
So
shit
we've been
seriously. Fucking go.
We've been joking about this a few times or hinting around it. You want a professional wrestler or an MMA or a professional boxer in this role?
No. I want someone who has that physique. It doesn't have to be someone who's been in the ring.
Slim, you're right. Slim says
it has to be someone who's been fucking lifting, who has been not just I do aerobics and I'm a fitness influencer, but like I can fucking curl 40-pound bells in each fucking arm and I have fucking 6% body
Joe,
fat. Maybe.
I'm gonna say what
because she's physically good looking. She's physically fit. I
don't know if she has the acting. I don't know if she has the acting chops though, Joe. Slim says I don't think Phil realizes how big Abby actually is.
She's fucking huge, dude. She's fucking
like China huge.
Like her arms, yes, dude. I'm telling you, those things, they're intimidating, man. Like
Does Joe want all this?
I like him.
Yeah, exactly, Atari Dad. Joe wants this workout and casting to be all recorded. The thing about Rhonda is she can handle the weight cut for when Abby later becomes emancipated. They also have a lot of weight on their shoulders. Jackie adds the pro athlete isn't going to be the best acting choice, though. That's why I'm saying I think you go with the acting and then you have the actor build the body.
You can't. There's no way they can do it.
You can do it on screen. You made Ed Norton look the way he did in like American History X.
That was cutting weight, dude. That was cutting weight. That was diet, and then.
But I'm saying you can do it.
He didn't bulk up.
Say they already cast someone, Joe, last year, and they already know who they're and they have them in the workout from already. It's been working out for like 2-3 years to bulk up or something.
Fit, tone, cut is different than bulk and muscle to that extent. That's what you don't like, dude. There is a lot. I worked with the janitor. He's an MMA fighter. He's 135 pounds, and the kid is fucking one muscle, head to fucking toe.
No, dude,
you can count each one of them on his fucking body.
You know,
and I would never want to take a fucking punch from him, but he doesn't even have these fucking arms.
Yeah, no, I mean, look at my cousin David, who at one point could bench 450 pounds.
He doesn't have
those arms, and like you saw him when he was at his biggest.
Right. He's a big, strong motherfucker, and yeah, he can
I'm not
do
exaggerating.
45-pound curls, but his arms, like, you want to take his arm, you want to take like
he had offensive lineman bulk though, like it's a different kind of.
Yes, exactly. So this Abby is not bulk like that. There's character in the Seraphins that you fight that there's this big Broomhilda fucking lady who's like 6'6" and yields a fucking sledgehammer and shit. We're not talking about that kind of big and those kind of fucking arms. We're talking about this girl is doing fucking chin-ups, fucking 20 fucking times a day. She's doing sets of chin-ups. She's waking up and running. And you're saying she's waking up and lifting, and she's going to bed and lifting. Like,
it's a big dynamic of who she is as a character.
It's a big thing of who she is. She has been preparing for this. She joins the WLF and she takes it fucking serious. She dumps the science shit. She dumps the learning and shit for her revenge track. She needs fucking arms to match. She talks about hitting the weight room and beating dudes in the weight room. If she's not that kind, and like, I'm not just saying, like, you see these characters all the time in army movies where there's the girl in the platoon and she's talking the shit. She's in Starship Troopers. She's in every fucking.
No, this character needs to.
But like,
this character this character is the boss. This character. She gotta have her. Boss.
She's not even the boss. Like, she's a grunt. But she got.
No, I mean the boss in the gym. I just mean the boss in the gym. Like she's the boss in the gym. So
and then she'll tell you got a small penis when she beats you for fucking in lifting too.
We got the amazing immortal Dildo Gaggins in the live chat, Joe, who says for Frodo, Dildo Gaggins. Thank you, Dildo, for sticking your head into this live chat.
Yeah, no, she really needs to be able to like. She needs to have those arms, though. Like, if you took Ronda Rousey's arms and literally popped them onto
Julia Gardner's. Yeah. Oh, or someone said, okay, so
right, like that's what we're talking about. That's what it kind of looked like.
Now Jackie C in the live chat says Abby didn't seem that big to me. Jackie F says it has to be an athletic actress who has a metamorphosis gain muscle fast. We need to have her bulk up. Yeah, like that has
really
but some actors have that skill set, Joe, where they can bulk up really quick, like Christian Bale or De Niro.
And like I'm saying, there's probably actresses out there that have
Natalie Portman can do it
very close to this.
Yeah, I mean, there's people
that really are.
There's people that can do it, and hopefully we'll see that as well. Where did Abby get her protein powders in the world? I want to see who wants this role. Who wants this role in Hollywood? Which one of these actresses wants it enough to be involved in this?
Joe, they know it's such a big HBO hit where they're already at the gym right now,
working out,
drinking down fucking eggs and protein, and
sending a videotape of them bulking up with whey protein,
and fucking like getting their arms in shape, being like, I want this role for fucking Abby.
I'm sure there's some gamers and some fans that are doing that. Jackie makes a great point in the reality, so maybe they'll take it in a different direction. You can't get that big without protein powder. Most of the men in my family are ridiculously tall and built like the mountain. It is true. You need that extra protein to get built like that. You have to have it.
I know kids who have, like I said, if
Chris Hemsworth should play Abby.
another 30, 40 pounds in muscle, he would do it in a fucking heartbeat. But like, it's tough to change.
I don't know modern day wrestling.
What your body does.
Any fans of the WWE currently? Are there any WWE wrestlers that have enough acting charisma that could possibly pull off this part? Because the more you describe it, the more I'm thinking it has to look like a professional wrestler to a certain extent, and just be someone that has good acting charisma.
Those professional wrestlers now, most of the women in professional wrestling now don't even have that
They have more of the technical finesse thing going on, where like they're more Bret the Hitman Hart than Hulk Hogan.
I haven't really even looked.
I've watched
any of it, so
it's
amazing,
dude. I've watched it a little bit, and it's ridiculous. In wrestling in general, even though maybe the stories aren't as good as they used to be before and stuff like that. The physical talent of the guys and gals doing professional wrestling right now is better than is like top tier. They're all like Tito Santana and Randy Savage and Ric Flair's. You know, they're all technically awesome.
If there is MMA fighters out there, because if you've watched
incredibly
women fighters, they're fucking brutal, dude. I watch some of their fights and I'm like, holy fuck, I really don't understand sometimes why there's a divide.
The problem, Joe, the problem between MMA,
that's so brutal.
But the problem between MMA fighters or boxers versus a professional wrestler is the professional wrestler has on the mic acting training, and there's better transitions that you could see a professional wrestler, that you actually see the experience. Anytime you see a professional athlete do a part, yeah, LeBron's okay in that bit part. He is in that comedy movie. The Space Jams, both of them are all right. Shaq is occasionally funny when he's in movies, but he's occasionally funny. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have a good history. And Jim Brown is fucking awesome. He was awesome in a lot. Bubba Smith, another great acting transition. But most of them suck. And Whereas, Juice was great in the. I know I was gonna say him too, Joe. Was great in the Naked Gun movies, or in that show First and 10, or in whatever
Squad.
Police Squad, yeah. But like wrestlers, Roddy Piper's entertaining as fuck, even if he wasn't the greatest actor.
Oh, dude, one of my favorite movies of all time is They Live.
The Rock has made himself into a Hollywood star. Even the Hulkster has a few good performances. Yep. You know, wrestlers can pull off acting a little bit easier. So that's why I'm saying a wrestler over an MMA fighter.
Yep, I'm just saying.
Yeah, John Cena is fucking in one of the best shows of last year. Like, fucking, what do you call it? You like it even better than I do. What was it?
Peacemaker.
Yeah, Peacemaker. Yeah, he's another one. John Cena's not an incredibly layered actor, but he kills it when he gets the opportunity.
Even who's that other one that did the
or the wrestler, the guy, the Edge on Vikings, even like
there's a lot. There's a lot of them. Yes.
Wrestling is an easier transition. That's why I'm saying.
But I'm just saying it's got to be someone with that physique.
Do you mean the movie Overboard with Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell? Because that's one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. And it made me an extreme miniature golf fan, because the big thing at the end of the movie is Kurt Russell's character has a dream of building this.
There's another Overboard too. They did a remake.
Oh, is it a remake is the same concept basically?
Reverse the male and female roles.
But yeah, but Batista is also like, there's a lot of so I guess there's a lot of experience, just a little bit more experience with wrestlers transitioning into that. So Joe, you obviously want an actress, but you want to make sure the character looks the part.
Yes.
Can you overdose on vitamins, Joe?
Yes.
You can?
Yes.
What is the? I
don't know. Yeah. Yes.
I'm pretty sure.
Absolutely. Read the bottle.
It's like it's like if you smoke anything, you're gonna get lightheaded and high. It's like, if I smoke banana peels, will I get high? If you smoke anything, eventually you got a head buzz.
Something bad's gonna happen.
So if you eat a whole bottle of vitamins, I can't imagine it being good. That being said,
yes, read the bottle, and if you think you've ingested too many vitamins, or in danger or something weird is happening, please call 911 or your local poison
And
control
don't listen
center
to us.
and get some help.
And don't listen to us. And we are, and Joe and Phil are not responsible for any deaths due to vitamins or any other substances ingested during their podcast.
Yes. Vitamins can be overdosed on.
Yeah. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, we got one more text message. How HBO takes criticism. You can write them and they'll write back. I did about Curb Your Enthusiasm. Okay, so maybe we might handle this. We might have another call-in type situation. John Haymaker says, I OD'd on Flintstone vitamins. Sonic says, your body will dispose of unused vitamins. I have to check that out. The Rock and the Ballers. Some people are asking what's next on the channel. Joe and I will be back situationally, occasionally throughout the year to talk about The Last of Us as we get more announcements and stuff. I'll be doing recaps of From after episodes air, which starts in April. Until then, I might be doing some roundabout shows about multiple series. I think I want to talk about Picard. I want to talk about the next week being the final episode of Shrinking. I also want to talk about Mandalorian, and I want to talk about a couple of shows that Joe's watching, and I want him to rag on me about my love for the Mandalorian. No, but we're going to talk about some stuff. I might be on by myself or Joe joining me as well when he can. And we'll find something this year as well. Joe and I will be doing together the final season of Cobra Kai whenever that gets announced. Severance when that comes back. Peacemaker. I'll get into watching that. The Boys. Invincible. All those shows. All those shows. You want to see Joe and I happy? Most likely we'll be happy.
Ted Lasso. I would love to start doing. Shrinking. I would love to start.
We're gonna do next week, Joe. Sometime next weekend, maybe. I gotta find out whenever Katie's working or something. Either Sunday afternoon, early afternoon, or Saturday or something like that. Let's do or one of the nights when you get off work. Let's do a roundabout episode where we talk about after Friday, because the season finale of Shrinking is on Friday. So let's talk about it Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. We'll figure out a time to come on and just do a quick shoot the shit.
Sundays is good. I like the Sundays.
Okay, let's do Sunday at same time. Sunday at around
same bad channel, same bad time.
Yeah, like 6:30, 6:45 ish. We'll try to get on around here and be on for an hour or two talking about some other shows. So, we got one more super chat donation from Jasmine Breaking Bad says, can you overdose on vitamins? No. Perry Mason, Phil. Do Perry Mason, do Yellow Jackets. Joe, what shows are you watching? You'll have to tune in next week's episode will be all about what are Joe and Phil watching and what do we recommend, and we'll also be trying to convince the other one that what we like is good. And I know in the case of The Mandalorian, Joe's going to be telling me what I like is shit. And we're going to be having some fun.
I really at this point, I couldn't comment because I haven't watched anything since season 1.
Yeah. And I'll be fair to you to say, if you didn't like season 1, you're not going to like season 2 and season 3. It's more of the same. Like I like season 1. So it's like, I'm just getting more of the same basically for 2 more seasons of it. But again, we'll talk more about that next time, Joe. So let's get, I'll just play this song because it's up. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next week to talk more bullshit.
Peace.
Later.